Can the boys go back-to-back this weekend in round 12 as they take on the South Sydney Rabbitohs? You can watch all the action live and loud in the lounge and sports bar this Saturday at 5:30pm at the home of the West Tigers, West Ashfield. That's at 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield. Sure, you know where West Ashfield is by now. The West Ashfield is proud to be able to provide ongoing support to 30 local organisations in the field of sport and arts and providing assistance to an additional 30 non-for-profit organisations within the local area. And of course, stay tuned for exciting dining offers and giveaways via this podcast in association with West Ashfield. For more information, visit West Ashfield's website at westashfield.com.au or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. And welcome into another episode of the WestsLife podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. We are live and there's plenty of people packing into the YouTube, the Facebook and the Twitter. Give us a follow on there, those socials, guys, at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And a couple of our Patreon members have been getting a sneak peek of our amazing pre-show content before, talking about what, because we've got a special guest coming on at about 9 o'clock. If anyone's on Twitter, you can probably guess who it is. So looking forward to that, and obviously reviewing a win for the boys on the weekend against the Bulldogs. It was so good to go out to Leichhardt Oval. Rob Bashara sat next to me. He was pretty contained, Rob. And then we had a beer and a good feed at West Ashfield after the game. A nice late night feed, and watched the Para beat Manly as well. How good! What a great Friday night it was. It was almost the perfect date night for you and I, Rob.
It was fantastic, Josh. Thanks for having me out with you. Your seats are on the halfway line. We didn't get wet. And had a great feed at West Ashfield afterwards, and spoke about the game and bumped into a few WestsLife supporters there, which was really good. And they came up and said good day. And it's just a great night all around. A little bit of a heart attack 3/4 of the way through the game, but we got through it, and the boys toughed it out.
Jared on YouTube, he says, "Is Pasco coming on the pod?" It's not just, it's not
Rob's mate.
Pasco.
Rob's mate.
And that voice, that deep baritone voice, you can hear coming through in his black and gold jumper after a win at Leichhardt Oval on the weekend. Shayne from MG Pump Solutions. How much did you enjoy watching that game? You watched it at home on the telly, but you must have been pretty pumped watching the game.
Yeah, yes and no. I was excited, and then probably about 15 minutes after half time, I was punching my lounge and blowing up.
My wife hates when I do that.
Oh, dude, I was linking it because it was just that typical Tigers downfall. We're just like, no, I thought we were past this. I didn't think this was Tigers anymore. But look, the boys brought it back, and they showed the resilience that we know they have. And it just shows how good Jackson Hastings is.
Absolutely.
He goes off the field, and we absolutely turn to shit. So it sort of just shows just how good he is. And I'm glad we've got him. So no, it was a good win. I knew we'd put some points on them. I was just hoping they wouldn't put as many points on us, so we could sort of get
the score on Thursday pretty much
fairly close.
On. Yeah, you're pretty close.
Fairly close. But I don't know. It was a good game, but I really wish they didn't have that little comeback. I watched it back. Jackson Hastings moved when old mate's foot hit the ball. To me, there was nothing in it. There was a bee's dick. Like, I don't know how they just automatically bang. They just automatically sent him off. I don't understand that. It was too close for me to really tell. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big call.
I'm a bit biased. I got my Tigers glasses on, but still, Like to me, it looked like as soon as his foot touched the ball, Hastings started to run. So, and he was the only person back on our line. So,
Rob, just quickly we'll get to it more in the game review, but
Sure.
have you've watched the game back on TV? Obviously, we were up in the Latcham Robinson stand, so it was a bit hard to see, and you need binoculars to see the big screen. I'd barely call it a big screen at Leichhardt. It's almost an oversized TV, such as how hard it is to see unless you're actually sitting in that corner of the hill where it is. So it was pretty hard for us to see the sin binning. In looking back, do you think are you agreeing with Shayne that it was a bullshit call?
I think it was a harsh sin bin, but looking back at it, Jacko got back to the try line, but he took off an hour early. And I think he only got sin bin because the ref knows how smart Jacko is. Like Jacko probably thought, if I get back to the line and take off really early, they can't sin bin me because I got back to the line. But they kind of outsmarted Jacko there. So it was harsh, but when you see where he was when he was 3 meters in front of the try line. So he basically took off as the ball was put on the ground, which I don't know. I still think it was very harsh. What I do want to say about that sin binning period, guys, that whole second half, I don't think we played bad even in that period. Like we did well in the first half on the back of a 7-1 penalty count. We pretty much took most of our chances, but in the second half, they put on a really good try through TPJ onto Burton. There's not much we could do about that. We had a couple of missed tackles there, but that was really more their good effort than our bad effort. And then from the kickoff, there was that one loose error where Marshall King makes a break up the middle. Naden does this incredible tackle on Dufty. And then Jacko goes to the ankles. So Jacko goes to the sin bin. It's already 18-6, and they score straight away, right? Then basically we kick off after they kick the goal. And for 9.5 minutes, guys, we played well. We were just down a man. We actually controlled the game really well. We defended well, considering we were down a man. And they literally got to 18-16 when Jacko came on the field 20 seconds before. I don't think we played badly in the second half. I actually just think Canterbury played as good as they could possibly play.
They lifted their intensity.
They literally did not make a mistake, Josh, until the sin bin. They completed every set. I wouldn't say they threw a lot of attack at us. I actually think they could have taken advantage of the extra man a bit more. But we didn't fall apart. We just had a man short, guys, and they scored straight away when Jacko came off, and they basically scored when he came on. So I actually think it could have been a lot worse if Canterbury had done a bit better in the sin bin. But it's not like we dropped balls or made stupid mistakes or missed a shitload of tackles or anything like that. I actually think we played pretty well the whole game. But we see the scoreboard go from 18-0 to 18-16, and we go, oh, we played shit. We didn't play shit. They came out from that second half. Matt Burton put a bomb that basically resulted in a goal line dropout, and they never looked back. So that he put an amazing kick up that was so high. By the time Toa caught it, he fell over in the in goal and couldn't get out. So they just had us on the back foot, and give them some credit. But that said, in the first half, Canterbury was shit. Like they turned the ball over so many times. Like Flanagan turned it over in the red zone. Burton made a break and Little tackled him and he lost the ball. They did a stupid cross kick. The winger who's really good, Carraz, I think his name is, he dropped the ball from the play the ball. Like they just did so many errors. And to our credit, except for maybe one Jock Madden kick that went dead in goal, we pretty much scored every time we went up their end. So I just think we played a really good control game. We completed at 96% or something in the first half, and that kept going in the second half. I don't know what everyone wants, guys. We had a bunch of new players. We had half a new spine. We had new combinations. We had a new player in the team. We had two new players from Munu Brown and Brent Naden. It's a great performance, guys. I know they're coming last, but I just want our team to get some freaking credit when they deserve credit.
Brocco on YouTube, his thoughts on Naden's comments. We're going to go player by player. After that, we do a little bit of news. So, we're going to be here for a while with that. So, everyone put the heater on, grab a cup of tea because this one, we're going to celebrate this one for a while. So, first piece of news, Thomas McHaley is no longer a West Tiger. He's been given an early release to move to the UK. wouldn't say unexpected. I think it's unexpected that it happened so soon. Shayne, what are your thoughts letting Thomas McKaylee go? How do you think you'll go over there, and who do you think that roster spot is going to go to?
I think he'll go really well over there. We spoke about it last week, and I really do think he needs that to get his confidence up. He's had quite a few seasons of first grade against us, for us, sorry, and just it was almost like he's just stuck in second gear. Like that first year we saw him, we're like, oh, this guy's going to be pretty good, and then just nothing really ever happened with him. So look, it sort of doesn't really shock me. I know we are wanting to clear up spots because obviously if Brown keeps playing good, would not surprise me if he gets a top 30 spot. That's who I think will get the top 30 spot. So,
Rob, what are your thoughts on Big Tommy?
I stand corrected, Shayne, but I think with McKaylee going, it actually frees up 2 spots now. So
I think we were one short already. So
yeah, we were one short already.
Yeah.
I agree with Shayne. Like what Brown did the other night, he's staying, guys. He's not going anywhere. I said a few weeks ago, if we just had this squad and had a couple of centers and a hooker, we're super competitive. Well, now we've got a backup hooker who's got the potential to be the starting hooker. We've got Brent Naden in the centers, and we've got 4 great halves when Adam comes back, and all those halves can't play centre. So we could even put Dwayhe in the centres. If Dane Laurie comes back, we can get Toa in the centres. We're starting to look really deep, guys, when we get some players back. So I think the other option in terms of McKaylee leaving, well, firstly, I don't think he's a big loss. I love him as a player. He's never fulfilled his potential. We went into that last week. There's talks that maybe we're freeing up space for Luke Thompson. There's also talks that with the timing of it all and the fact that New Zealand have let go of Matt Lodge, that we could possibly get Matt Lodge or Jack Hetherington from Canterbury. I'm not a fan of either. I actually think Hetherington can play. I just think he's just got too much baggage with, the guy sneezes and he gets 4 weeks, so I don't think he's going to be add value. He'll be off the field more than he'll be on the field for us. Thompson, I don't mind having, but he'll probably cost a bit of coin. I don't know. Maybe we're just making some room for, as Shayne said, Brown and possibly someone else. Who knows? But I guess we'll find out very shortly because, we're entering June next week. So not much time left.
Mitch said he's going to be excited for if we can get Jag Thompson. The Bulldogs do have to free space. So you were shaking your head when you heard Matt Lodge's name, Shayne. So you're a no for that one as well.
No way. We got rid of him because he's a dickhead. Why are we getting him back? He is a dickhead. I don't care what anyone else says. He can come on here and I'll call him a dickhead to his face. I'll call him a dickhead to his face in person because he is. He knows he is. The shit he's done inside the game, outside the game, the whole lot, he's a dickhead. I don't want a bar of him. Jack Hetherington, no chance I would want him. As Rob said, he sneezes and gets 4 weeks. Like he can look at someone the wrong way and probably get sent off. So I don't want him at all. Like there's no chance. I said this to a few of my mates, like when I was watching him play earlier this year, and I'm just like, he's going to run himself out of football because he's just going to keep doing stupid shit. And it's going to get to the point where he'll do one little thing and he's off for 10 weeks because he's just got such a big build-up of penalties behind him. So, look, I don't want either of them. Lodge especially. Like, I'd rather have Hetherington than Lodge if there was one or the other. I just don't think Lodge is a good person to have around the club. He's been here once before and we got rid of him for a certain reason, and why would you bring him back? Now, Luke Thompson, on the other hand, that is someone who I'd definitely go for. He was probably one of the Bulldogs' best players the other night. He was going as hard as he could. It was hard for him. Our forwards were really putting up a fight and they were stopping him. So, yeah, hopefully that one comes true.
Michael on Facebook is talking about what's the guy from Manly that we signed?
Pole.
The brother.
Sione Fanu.
Yeah, that's it. Fainu.
So he's playing Flegg at the moment. He can get an upgrade. And Luke said on YouTube, do we need the 30 by June 1st? Yeah, but we can easily do that by just upgrading a what do you call it? Either a train and trial
Well, it seems like they've got something in the works, because why would you let go of somebody right before to free up an extra spot? You know what I mean? So
yeah, there's a plan.
It seems someone's talking to somebody, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but I'm happy with Thompson, guys. I just don't want to pay. I would have paid massive dollars for him when we were speaking about him earlier in the year. I think we've got a little bit more leverage now. We're a club going forward. We're looking good. We didn't make him look very good the other night. And honestly, I'm sick of bailing Canterbury out of their problems. Like we did it with Josh Reynolds years ago. We did it with Moses Mbai when they paid overs. Like I think we're in the driver's seat to get him at the right price. So I'm happy for the club to play a bit of hardball if we're seriously interested in him.
A bit of a fun one today on Twitter. So shouts out to Keith Bassett, who did this for us. So long-time listeners might remember Big T, or the biggest T, on Twitter. Luke Brooks Island, a coin I like to think I came up with. Biggest T ended up making Luke Brooks Island T-shirts, and with our little logo on Luke Brooks' chest there. And Keith got Brooksy today to sign one of those shirts, which is pretty cool. I'd like to, yes, I'll speak to Keith. Keith sits a couple of rows behind me at Leichhardt, so it'd be cool I'll catch up with Keith and see how Brooksy reacted to seeing a cartoon drawing of himself on a tropical island, having probably no idea what the reference is. But yeah, pretty cool little moment there for Big T and myself. Righto, we're still waiting. So did I mention who's coming on yet? Did I keep that a secret? Did I tease that?
No, you kept it a secret, mate.
I kept it a secret. So we're waiting for Michael Chammas from the Sydney Morning Herald to come on to talk about the article about Madge. Basically, Rob, you want to explain kind of what the article is, because this chat is thanks to you kind of blowing up on Twitter about it.
Oh, look, my blow up about it is, we've had our third win for the year on Friday night. We've got some feel good stories there. We've got a bunch of guys, like I said, that haven't played together for ages. We've got a new bloke at the club in Brent Naden who had a decent game. We had another guy, Farmunu Brown, who scored 2 tries. We've got a team ripping in for the coach, and an article comes out about, look, the Tigers aren't going to decide on Madge's future depending if we make the finals, blah, blah, blah. Most of it was okay. Like he did mention that, we're missing a lot of players, and he put all that there, but it was basically alluding to the fact that if our season is done and dusted by a certain time, that's when the Tigers will make a decision about the club. And I just think for all the doom and gloom we've caught for like 10 years, I've never seen the club in a better spot now, and I've never been so excited about the direction we're going in. And mate, I'm the one that is really the one that just beats the club to the ground when things are going bad. And I just think we're going so well that I'm concerned that even though most of it's an opinion piece, Josh, it has to start from someone within the club giving him a line or two. Now, why can't those guys in the club give him a line or two and say, hey, mate, we're going all right at the moment. Things are looking up. If we beat South this week and get the bye, we're on 10 points. We'll be 2 to 4 points out of the 8 with a lot of players coming back. We're sick of reading all the bullshit and then negativity. And I know it's all clickbait. That's all well and good. But, let's just have a positive article when we deserve positivity. If we lose 5 in a row or 6 in a row, bash the crap out of us. I get all that. But I think whoever's leaking stuff to the likes of Michael Chammas, and he's doing his job. I've got no problem with Michael Chammas. But whoever's leaking this stuff to Michael Chammas does not have the West Tigers' best interests at heart, because all it does, it alienates the fans. It puts more pressure on Michael Maguire and the players. to get results, they know what they've got to do, guys. It's not like, Blind Freddie knows we've got to keep winning games. But, give us a bit of credit when we're doing well. That's my biggest beef. So that's where it came from. And then I basically put on Twitter something to the effect of like, rat out the culprit who's talking to you. And he's replied about an hour ago, oh, well, ask me on the show and I'll come and tell you. So we'll see what Michael's got to say. And it's nice of him to come on. And, we reach a big West Tigers audience. So it should be interesting to hear what he's got to say.
Yep. Looking forward to having, a real actual journalist on the show. It'd be pretty cool. Shayne, this whole Madge coaching sacking, like, man, I thought we were past it. Hey, I thought there was just the team, obviously, a couple of someone mentioned the comments, the injuries, and we've talked about it the last few weeks. Like, is a decent excuse why the team's not quite winning games, but you can see they're playing for the coach now. Like, we've got guys coming, like real origin quality talent coming in for next year under Madge's watch. Like I thought this whole Madge be sacked thing died, but do you think it's dead, or do you think they're flogging a dead horse here?
I think they're flogging a dead horse. I don't know how you could think after what we've witnessed this year. Look, don't get me wrong. If we went 8-0 and we were getting flogged at every game, that's completely different. Like, I can understand why that is. Like, why Madge's going to get sacked, blah, blah, blah. Like, we all know that. The thing is, we've now seen a team that wants to play for us and for Madge. They're playing better than we've seen them play in the last decade. We're seeing some structure. We're seeing some fight. Like, we've literally had 6 different options in the backs on each edge. 6 different edge options. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's in 6 games. Like, how is that going to create any cohesion? Like, it's not going to happen. So you have to understand that, look, we have lost a few games in these. Like, I think as Rob mentioned, oh, no, you didn't mention, you wrote up that we're actually 3 from 3 with Jackson playing. So the first 2 games we lost, and they were pretty close. The Knights one was pretty dodgy, but after that, the only loss we've had was Sea Eagles.
No, we had a couple.
And
we've had a few more than that, buddy.
Well, three. You said three out of 6, didn't you? 3 wins, 3 losses.
Well, Jacko's missed
with Jacko.
We've won 3 out of 11. Jacko's missed 3 games, so therefore we're 3 out of 8 with Jacko.
Yeah, okay.
We're 3 out of 8. But the thing is, Shayne, like, I'm not saying I know they want to click us on articles, but I want to read about how Jock Madden came of age on Friday night, and he owned that freaking game. Like, he owned it so hard in the second half when they were charging up on him, putting pressure on him. He'd do a little move one way and pass it and create a break. Or I want to hear about Jacko coming on the field with one leg. He literally came on the field with one leg and steered that ship with Jock Madden home. Like, there are so many feel-good stories about that game. And
look at Joffa.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great about the weekend. And then look at Joffa. Look at Kenny Mamalo playing on one leg. 2 tries, and some of his hit-ups, like, you could hear Leichhardt shake at the impact. Like, there's so many good feel-good stories about the game. Okay, it's only Canterbury, they say. Well, I don't think we're in a position that we're going to flog any team, guys, no matter who it is. But, we've got a bits and pieces team busting their asses every week, and I've got to hear, like, oh, we're not sure if Madge is going to be here. Like, fuck off with that narrative, man. I'm over it. There's a lot of positive stuff to talk about.
Sorry, it was up there. It's at halfback, not 5/8. That's what had me confused.
Yeah, I think there was one about how
Hastings at halfback. It's up now.
How many tries we've scored? How many tries we've scored? With
him? 22 in 6 games.
And then we don't score any when he's not there. Yeah.
Yeah,
great follow on Twitter, MBWT. He's got 2 underscores now.
But as you were saying, Rob, like, the amount of good that we saw on the weekend, like, I saw Joffa own that lock spot. I haven't seen him pass this well ever. To me, he played like Jake Trbojevic. When I was watching him play, that's what he literally reminded me of. His passing, his little link ups through the back, like he was playing so fucking good, but nothing will get said about it.
Well, I know for a fact that you're going to go Jacko man of the match. I got no problems with who. I think this is the one game you can have a zillion different man of the matches. I've got 4 blokes that I reckon could be man of the match, and Jacko's not one of them. That's how well a lot of our individuals played last Friday night.
You'd be surprised, Rob.
I'll be surprised.
He's not my man of the match.
Yeah, well, I've got, like I don't even think I've got someone that you haven't even got in the points. You know what I mean? So, and that's fine because they're all deserving of it. Like Joffa's deserving of it, Kenny's deserving of it, Jock's deserving of it. Luke Garner had a blinder, like absolute blinder. There are so many guys that played well. Even the guys that we pick on a little bit, like Little, he was, I know he missed a few tackles, guys, but if you look at his game, he looked a little bit different the other night. He'd look one way, he'd fake one way, go the other way. He made a really good scoop from dummy half. He just looked a little bit different. My only criticism, his service was fine, but he doesn't get the forwards to the advantage line when he passes. Like if you see him pass to Jacko catches it on the advantage line with momentum. Our forwards seem to catch the ball 2 or 3 meters back, which is the only little criticism. But I thought he played really well, and he's like a much maligned sort of player in our reviews. So I just think no one played bad, guys. I think they all lifted and they all had a go, and the conditions weren't great. And how good 15,000 people out there? That's just enormous.
And it wasn't because Bulldogs are obviously pretty highly supported team, but it was predominantly West Tigers fans there, from what I could see. But there were plenty of Bulldogs fans, but it wasn't like 50-50 like you'll see when we played Para or something. It was a pretty West Tigers dominant crowd. It was awesome. I couldn't believe it. I thought there's no way at 6 p.m. It was raining, 6 p.m. on a Friday in the inner west. Like I thought for sure would be one of maybe 9,000 people there, Rob. And
a team coming in with 2 wins, Josh. Team coming into the game with 2 wins, wet night.
Against a team coming last. Yeah.
Canterbury, heaps of players out. And imagine we're in the top 4. It'd be you wouldn't be able to get tickets a week before the game.
Imagine
we are the sleeping giants of the comp, guys. We're getting our act together on the field. We just need to get our act together everywhere now.
We're definitely...
Well, boys, you know what my favourite stat... You know what my favourite stat of the game is?
What's that, buddy?
What's that?
On NRL, on NRL.com,
yeah.
Twal's tackle percentage is 100.08.
Someone's bad at math.
So he is over 100% tackle efficiency. That one.
So he makes other people's tackles as well.
100%.
I'm going back to school to work that one out. I can't figure.
But just 0.08 of their tackle he took.
It's still above 100.
Yeah. What about Twal trying to run through the banner and having troubles with the banner the other night? That was hilarious.
It's happened with every banner we do. Everyone gets pumped by our banners.
It's not a banner culture. It's a very American thing to do the banner. We're not used to it over here.
It's AFL.
Credit to the West Tigers club for forking out for the fireworks too. Like they're not cheap to have that, and the drums going as well. The Lebanese drummers. Rob, like they're pretty expensive to hire.
They're bloody expensive.
They charge thousands of dollars. So to get them, and they had quite a few of them there. So credit to the club for creating the atmosphere and the game day experience. So fingers crossed, it gets more people going out to Leichhardt, and fingers crossed we get it upgraded and play a few more, at least 4 games there a year, 4 or 5 games a year. There, it's just it just felt so good, and we obviously mentioned it before. We went back to West Ashfield afterwards, which was pretty cool. So if you can't go to West Ashfield, or if you're going to the game, couldn't believe it because we got there. We went and had a feed at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Kitchen's still open. Kitchen's still open. The schooner Peroni tasted pretty sweet after a victory. I don't know if I was thirsty or it was because I was just happy about the win. But saw your son was there, my cousins were there. We had nice late night feed at West Ashfield. So shout out to Wes as well. So we're still waiting. It's 9 o'clock now. Michael said he'll be on soon. We'll go through the scores for lower grades while we're waiting for him to come. So Cup lost 42-0 to the Bulldogs at Leichhardt Oval. Obviously, with all these injuries, it's pretty hard for the Cup, pretty young Cup side to put on a performance. And then Jersey Flegg was meant to be played afterwards, but the lights didn't work, so that got postponed. Someone at Leichhardt Oval forgot to obviously turn the lights on. So when Jersey Flegg is playing, I'm not sure. If anyone knows, drop it in the comments. But yeah, their game against the Bulldogs got postponed. And if you hung around at Leichhardt to watch the West Tigers Harvey Norman Premiership girls, they lost 22-4 to Mounties. So the ladder, we're coming 13th. I forgot to let me bring it up on the screen. I think we're in 13th now. Is that right? Let me just bring it up on the screen like magic here.
Yeah, 5 differential points off overtaking the Gold Coast.
So looking at the ladder,
I caught the back of that game, and I was just hoping they didn't score those points. I was just like, for fuck's sake, man, we would have jumped up another.
Yeah. It's 8th or bust, boys. 8th or bust. Nothing else.
Yeah. So the Rabbitohs who we play this week are on 10 points. We're on 6 on minus 92. So a win and a bye. So it's 4 points if we can. I mean, obviously everyone catches up with the bye, but we can get edge up to be 2 points out of the 8. It's really game on, and hopefully got Adam back straight after the bye. Same with Brooksy, and hopefully Dane. Someone else is back. Dane and Offa back this week. So the team after the bye, it might be full strength, bar maybe obviously Sean Bloor. So look, there's hope. There's hope, boys. What are we paying for the top 8? Like, how do you think, Shayne? Do you reckon we're a chance for the top 8?
Look, with our team coming back and how well we're playing, I wouldn't put us past it. If there's a team that can make a good back end run, I believe this team can definitely do it. Next year will be even better. But from what we've seen, if we get some cohesion in the backs, it'll just be absolute lightning. I really reckon we can do it. I reckon we can do it because Roosters are not looking good. Rabbitohs are looking shit. Eels are hit and miss. They're very up and down. And then you've got Raiders. Sea Eagles are pretty much done for the year without Turbo. Dragons are hit and miss. Warriors are average. Titans are shit. Knights are shit. Bulldogs are shit. So, look,
a lot of shit in
there.
This man works with pumps, so he knows his shit.
Let's be honest. Watching the games, they're shit. I feel bad. But look, pretty much Warriors, I'd say we're sort of on par with Warriors, Dragons, Raiders at the moment. We could sort of be up there. We could hit that 8. It really depends on how the Roosters implode like they seem to be doing. Rabbitohs the same. They're just looking so average, which is wild because they've still got their rep stars there. They've still got some really, really good players. So look, it's going to be a big. I reckon pretty much from 6 to 11, it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, I think Para might be one tier above, but Rob, how many wins do you think? So we have 13 games left. We've won 6. So what do you reckon? 7 goes 7 and 6. The run home.
8 and 5.
You reckon 8? We'll need 8 and 5.
I think 24 gets us in. That includes the bye. But everything hinges on this week, guys. If we don't win this week, let's not even talk about finals. But if we win this week, even though we're lying 13th, I think we're a top 8 team, boys. We're actually one of the best 8 teams right now. And I know it sounds crazy, but you think of how undermanned we are and the style we're playing and the effort we're putting in. When we get some better quality players back, no offense to the guys that are there, I just think, we would have had. I think we would have given the Cowboys a shake last week if Jake Simpkin and Brooks don't come off at halftime. We had that game in pretty good control after 35 minutes. They've just put a number on the Melbourne Storm. So I think we're definitely one of the best, the better teams in the comp. Admittedly, it's not the greatest standard comp, but I think we're better than half those teams that, Shayne mentioned. We're not on a par with St. George and the Warriors. We're better than them. I know we've lost to them, which hurts, but we are better than them. We just haven't been at full strength.
Yeah.
It's just nice to get a few players and back, not just a few players back, but they get to play with each other for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. It's just a revolving door at the moment with the team.
Absolutely. We're $16 to make the top 8 at the moment.
What?
Is that unders or overs, you reckon?
That's like millions. That's way overs.
So as in it's a good bet or they should be paying more?
It's a good bet. I'm getting on that.
16-1. We're still third last. So Knights are $19 and Dogs $34. So they got Warriors at $13 shorter than us. I think we're in, what are we, 2 points behind, similar for and against. I think we're definitely better than the Warriors. A better chance than the Warriors. Unless they're going home later in the year, but that's against us. But yeah, there's definitely a few teams that we should be able to leapfrog. And yeah, like you said, Manly, Shayne said Manly without Turbo might be struggles. Kathy, this would be good radio. I'll talk you through how to bet on Sportsbet. Look, I keep mentioning Sportsbet's names. We talked about it the other night, Rob. If there's any bookie out there, if you want me to stop mentioning Sportsbet, I'm happy to talk about someone else all the time. We give them free plugs all the time.
Yeah, get a sponsor.
Yeah, we're happy. Give us some bonus. Put some bonus bets in our account, and we'll mention you on the show
every
so
week.
You go into NRL, and there's a futures section. So go to All Rugby League in there, Kathy. Yeah, go put your house on Tigers to make the 8. Do I have to say gamble responsibly, even though they don't pay us?
Just do it anyway.
Yeah, gamble responsibly, but put a lot on. Righto. Still, Chammas said he'd be a couple more minutes, so we'll start with our player review, and that would be. Well, that means I've got to bring up my cute little graphics that I made today, boys. So
yeah, they were good. I reckon we do a couple of honourable mentions, but we talk about the players up on those screens because they, like every player in that screen, absolutely put in.
Yeah, we'll try to be, because we're already 40 minutes into the show, so I'll just bring it up.
Well, while you're doing that, Josh,
you're
obviously going to start with Toa, aren't you? Start for Toa.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just while you're looking that up, I don't really have too much to say other than he was amazing under the high ball the other night. And he scored that great try off the Jackson Hastings double pump, and he really didn't put a foot out of place. It was wet conditions, so it wasn't a great night for backing up, but he was a little bit unlucky with the no try where he pushed Josh Jackson in the back. His hands were there, even though there wasn't much in it, but I thought he had a really good game.
Shayne, thoughts on Stafford?
Yeah, look, I agree with Rob. I don't think that try should have been disallowed. Josh Jackson, he couldn't turn around that quick if he fucking had to save his life. Like, there's no chance. Oh, he wasn't even looking at the ball. He just stumbled over. It was fucking ridiculous. But, like, what I loved about it was Twal to the left of him going, pass me the ball in the background. That was the funniest thing about that whole thing. I was losing it. I paused it, I rewound it like 10 times, and I was losing my absolute shit.
It was a good video, certainly in the socials, where it zooms in on Twally's face in slow motion. Yeah, it was really...
Oh, dude, he was just like, pass me the ball, hurry up, quick.
The game, it was the try was taken off him. Could you imagine if Twal got the ball and they called it back? Literally, I think there would have been a riot. Like, it would have been
100%. You would have just been like, just give it to him anyway. Just give it to him anyway. Yeah, look, Stafford played great. again, the link-up plays, it's getting better, definitely getting better, but I don't think he's going to be playing fullback for much longer when Dane gets back. But look, we'll just have to wait and see.
Sorry, boys. You caught me off guard there, Shayne. I was trying to bring up the SMH article ready for Michael to come on. Jersey number 2 was, I don't know the list in front of me. Who was second in line? It was
it Junior Supu?
Junior, yeah. A bit of you said earlier, Rob, that every single player played well. If I had to pick someone who didn't have a great night, it's probably Paul Young Jr. But I mean, he's young; he'll learn. I'd imagine, although if Kenny's out this week, maybe he'll get another run. But thoughts on Junior's game this week?
Look, I'm not going to bag him too much, Josh. I think he's just really raw. He did a couple of good things. Like obviously he dropped the first bomb that he went to take, but it went backwards and we got away with it. He did a really spectacular catch near the sideline in the first half, which was good. But then again, he had a couple of air swings. What people won't remember is he took a bomb in attack a couple of minutes before half time, which basically led to our try on half time. If he didn't take that catch, we wouldn't have won the penalty. He ended up going to the HIA for it. But yeah, then the second half, Shop kind of stood him up pretty foolishly, and he had another air swing that luckily the ball bounced and went into touch. So look, he's just a bit hit and miss, but his runs were pretty strong from dummy half. Like he's not like a Jason Saab type where he's just athletic but just can't do the hard yards. I think he's got the work rate in him to make a difference. He just needs more time, guys. He's just a little bit raw, but very encouraging what he can do. But I don't think he's ready for first grade yet.
Shayne, thoughts on young Junior?
Yeah, look, he's just very raw. He's young, and he will definitely come into it. Just sort of got to, as we keep saying, just got to give some people time. I really like him. He's good in the air, and you know what? He gives it a red hot crack. That's all we ask for, really. Like, look, I'm sure if Noffel was there, it would have been a bit different. But look, he's 19 years old. It's his second game of first grade. He's done all right by my books, so I'm happy. Look, there's things that definitely can improve, but they will. So,
yeah, I'm definitely excited for him, for his future. Absolutely, he's so young. Like he's born 2002, 2003, 2002 baby, I think. So super young. Righto, Michael is just making his way in. So I'll bring up his article up on the screen so everyone can see what we're talking about. So I'm going to talk about, we mentioned it earlier, about Michael Maguire. If anyone has a question for Michael as well, I'll keep my eye on the comments and
keep him
a chance. Obviously, keep him respectful. I know we're pretty loose on here, but so I'll bring him in. Michael Chammas, it's an honour to have someone, an actual proper journalist on the show. Welcome to the WestsLife podcast.
I wouldn't say that, mate. Tigers fans don't think that. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, look, you're above Buzz Rothfield. We'll give you that. So this article you've done this morning, 5 a.m. is on your byline there. So is there something you've heard about Michael Maguire and the coaching? Because we were saying earlier, we thought this whole thing, we thought Madge was safe and they were looking to the future with him. But is there something you've heard in regards to Michael Maguire's job?
Yeah, look, obviously the column was written yesterday, went out this morning in regards to Madge's future. And obviously you guys will have well across what I've written last year or so in regards to Madge. And he has a contract next year that's there in place. And I think, when the club decided to back him at the end of last year and make that public, I think a lot of people at the club privately felt that, he had 12 months and it wasn't that last year wasn't ever guaranteed. Obviously, there's a 12-month payout there with Michael's contract. So the club knew that perhaps if it didn't work out, they'd have to pay out 12 months and let him go. The way things have started this year, I think most people at the club are pretty happy that things are improving, but the level of improvement required, I think the club thinks it should be getting close to finals football. However, the injuries, as you guys are well aware, have probably diminished those chances at the start of the year anyway. They've obviously, as I said in the column today, there's been a lot of injuries throughout the year, and they haven't been able to judge Michael Maguire's team on a best case scenario. It's always been worst case scenario. So what I was writing yesterday was basically the fact that at the end of the day, they might have to make a decision based on worst case scenario. And it wasn't saying that one way or the other is the right or wrong way, but there is a reality that at some point in the next 4 to 6 weeks, that they're going to have to actually say, okay, Michael Maguire is our coach going forward, and even beyond next year. How long does Michael Maguire stay and build? Because as much as they're looking at players, there are players out there who want to know the long-term coaches, and they can't ignore the noise as well. They know that Michael Maguire isn't the safest of coaches at the moment, and are trying to work out who will be there next year. So I think you'll get a good indication. And what I wrote today was basically the fact that there's people in the club are saying, if you're not double digits by that halfway mark, your season's goodbye in regards to finals football. And there's 6 points by in round 13. So this week is crucial in regards to getting to that 10 points and keep themselves alive. And if the season peters out in the next 4 weeks and the finals contention is all but gone, then you'll see that the club will look at what they're going to do next year. And that might be match. They might be happy with the resilience the team has shown. They might be happy with the fact that things looking like it's a happy place at the moment. Or they might say, 4 years we've given him and enough's enough and let's move in a different direction. But either way, I expect that decision to become clear depending on what happens over the next month.
Boys, Michael, your piece today is obviously basically an opinion piece. But my issue with it isn't what you wrote. I've got no issue with that. My issue is someone within the club has obviously given you a line or two for you to run your piece on. You don't have to reveal your source if you don't want to reveal your source. I just feel as a supporter and someone that does a podcast with a couple of mates, we've got a due diligence to keep our fan base upbeat, and especially after a win. And there are so many feel-good stories from the other night. Jackson Hastings playing on one leg, Jock Madden coming of age, Farmunu Brown's 2 try-scoring effort. There's just so many good stories there. And the last thing we want to hear is like this talk within the club about possibly changing coaches. I'm going to ask you a 2-pronged question. Do you think the people you're speaking to within the club still have doubts about Madge genuinely? Because from where I sit, the team's improved its attack. It's improved its desperation. Everything about the team's improved, unfortunately, except the win column. And then my second part of my question is, how do you see our team going at the moment, even though we're sitting 13th? In terms of effort, in terms of playing for the coach, is there really another coach out there can get a squad that is decimated with up to 9 or 10 injuries playing the way they are, beating any NRL team? Because I don't see the team that was named last Friday night in February beating any team in the NRL. And they put a 13-plus result on an NRL football team. So I don't know if that's too many questions to ask you, Michael. But
you lost me, Rob. You're like, nah. No, I think, look, from you guys, I respect the fans, and at the end of the day, I'm a fan as well. That's why I'm doing it. If I'm not good enough to play, this is the next best thing. And I get the fans get frustrated with what some people may say or write or do, but at the end of the day, they've got a job to do. And I'm not out there to sabotage anyone, but I'm finding out information what I believe to be right. And there's obviously 2 sides to every story, and people think that you're taking sides, and that's fair enough. But look, from my point of view, what the people that I speak to and the people that that have come and gone at the club, obviously I'm not going to go into who they are, but the reality is people have the best interest of the club at heart. And whether
do they
or not,
really though? Do they really, if they're giving you this sort of potential negative narrative, do they really have the club's best interest?
If you actually look at the story, it's either way. If you look at the story, it's potentially negative if things don't go their way, but it's the reality of the business that these guys are in. It's not just park football here. Like they live and die by wins and losses. And Michael Maguire been there 4 years, and look at Trent Barrett. Look, at the end of the day, you don't win, things get ugly pretty quickly. Now Madge has had 4 years there, and it's not, my opinion is irrelevant in this situation. Whether Madge is the right man or not, no one cares what I think. At the end of the day, I'm a reporter trying to find out what's actually happening. And my story today was giving you an insight into what the thinking is at the club in regards to Michael Maguire. Are they happy with the way things are going this year? Of course, things have improved, and what they implemented at the end of season review and the changes with Ben Gardner and Nathan Kalis, and even players saying that Madge is delegating a lot more in team meetings and sharing the load, because the criticism was he was too consumed with it all, and sometimes he needed to delegate and get other people involved and get other voices. So yeah, things have improved. Is it a happy place? I think I saw something pop up about players off the coach. I don't believe that to be the case across the board with the players. No, I don't think so. I think you wouldn't have seen the commitment that you've seen this year. Yeah. But it's not about commitment anymore. And I said this point, there are people at the club who are starting to worry that is the barometer of success just trying hard now. And you guys know when Madge took over 4 years ago, it was cusp of finals, ninth, I think, that the Tigers finished under Ivan, and it progressively each year has gone backwards. So, I think the club wants to aim high. And while there are good signs this year, the question might be, as I said, it might be Madge the answer to continue the way it is. But at some point, the question's got to be asked: what we're doing good enough to get back to finals football, and how long will that take? So, I can't remember what else sort of you were asking me there, but yeah, from my point of view, you said this piece was an opinion piece. It wasn't. It was based on people I've spoken at the club, and people, you might not like that, but the job that we do and the relationships we have with people at the club, it's just the way the industry is, and you might not like exchanging information or whatever it may be, but there's a relationship there between people and at any club with any journalist. It's just the way it works. People have relationships with different journalists, and they tell them different things, and it works in both ways with stories. And it's just the way things are. It's not because I'm out to get Michael Maguire, or I've got no issue with Michael Maguire. Now, obviously, there are things written there that he wouldn't like, but each time that I've written something in the past, I've rung Michael Maguire and spoken to him about it. Has he been happy? No, of course not. But I've got a job to do. If people are telling me things, it's my job to get to the bottom of it and find out both sides of it. And some people are more willing than others. It's just the way it is.
It bothers me as a fan when I look at the squad, and obviously from what you're saying, there are elements within the club that don't think Michael Maguire has done a good enough job. And yes, look, I agree totally about effort isn't an issue anymore. Like we should be looking at more than effort. But when if you go through those players individually, there are so many players that are under 50 games. Jock Madden had a blinder the other night. He's probably had 10 full first grade games. We've had Jackson Hastings come back from England. We've got Dane Laurie, who's injured at the moment, who's had, say 30 games roughly. Jacob Little and Jakey Simpkin, our hookers, they're under, I think Little's about 60 odd games. Jake would be under 20 games. I can keep going on with that narrative. I don't know where the smarts are within the club other than Tim Sheen's and Michael Maguire, where they think we can get off on making finals football with 20 and 30 and 50 games, when us fans that know our team better than most realise that 2022 was going to be a bit of a development year, a platform for 2023. I don't know how anyone within the club thought we were going to make the 8, but now seeing all the players that are coming back that can add to the team, like Dwayhe and Laurie and all these sort of guys, I'm starting to think maybe, we could get a roll on the back end of the year and make the 8. So it just disappoints me that if the players are putting in for the coach, there's no 66-16 scoreline like against Melbourne last year. There's no 30-odd nil, whatever it was, against Canterbury in the last game last year. So the effort had to be questioned. There's none of that anymore. Even the game we lost to Cronulla, 30-odd nil, the old Tigers would have lost 60-0. So I just think we're putting in, and I don't know what getting a new coach achieves, and we'd be starting all over again. It really It irks me.
Well, I'll ask you, Rob, and this is just from a neutral point of view.
Sure.
When you look at the amount of improvement this year on the slightest bit of change in regards to coaching staff, and the results have been quite not wins and losses, but the improvement in performance has been quite significant. What's not to say if you moved in the direction that doesn't improve even more? So that's the kind of questions the club will ask itself. Okay, things are improving. Why did it take 3 years for this to happen? Why were we forced into this situation? And if this is the result of what we get by forcing change, perhaps things will improve the other way. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll think, you know what, Madge is doing a good enough job the way things are going. Why would we consider moving it on? But I think you guys will be if you take a walk down Fair Dinkum Avenue for a second, reality is Madge was always going to have to prove himself this year. He was always going to have to. And
yeah, sure.
maybe he's done enough.
Done it already. I think he's done it already, mate.
Yeah, I think he has.
Maybe he has, yeah.
I challenge any NRL coach to win with 9 of their best players out. Like, if I take 9 players out of the Cowboys team, they're getting absolutely pumped last weekend. You know,
Rob, look at Melbourne right now with 2 players out. Yeah, Melbourne with 2 of their biggest players, and they can't win a game.
They were down 36-6 with 23 minutes left the other night. We were down 36-12 at full time, having lost 2 of our spine during the game. And conversely, North Queensland lost 2 key players in Tamou and Kyle Felt during the game, and they still beat them with 15 men. Like the microscope on us is just so much more, and I think we're carrying the 10-year baggage, Michael. That's the problem.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Is there because of that.
Luke Brooks. I'll probably compare it to Luke Brooks. He's been there for like 9-10 years. He hasn't done anything that remotely to what he, promised in potential. And look at him since he's moved to 5'8" and had a class player with Jackson Hastings inside him. So, like Luke Brooks is going well. Now, I'm not saying we don't get rid of him, but, you definitely wouldn't get upset if Luke Brooks stayed with the club now. And that's how I feel Madge is. Maybe his first 3 years, we didn't get the best out of Madge, but I feel like Madge gets what it means to be a Tiger. I feel like he understands true grit. And I feel this team has got his fingerprints all over it now. And I'm proud of them, mate. I'm proud of them whether they win next week or they don't. I know they're ripping in, and they're a chance of winning a game every week, where I couldn't say that last year.
No, you're right. And one thing you can't fault Madge on is his effort and commitment. I don't doubt he's more committed than most coaches in the NRL. He lives and breathes it. He does. And reality is that's hard to get. But sometimes is that enough? That's not a question for me. My opinion's irrelevant in this situation. I'm just telling you, as I said to you, I'm just telling you the club, a discussion will have to be had in the next period to either say, okay, we're happy with the way things are going, we're going to keep moving forward, or we're not. And I completely get what you're saying. That point of view that there's enough being shown, that's fair enough. Yeah, there are signs there, and there's a lot coming through that junior system, and people are excited about the guys that are going to be making their debut in the next 18 months to 24 months at the West Tigers. And hopefully the club is on the up, because if the West Tigers are firing, rugby league's better. And I grew up a Dragons fan, and I remember I was at the prelim in 2010. Like, that was insane to see the crowd there and what it was like having the West Tigers.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. I don't want to bring up 05, so we'll just stick with 2010.
And we got you in 2011 as well.
I was just going to say, Michael, just on a different note, you obviously know McKaylee left for England now. Have you got any idea or any of the talk about who we might be getting in his place? Like, we've been discussing it earlier, but have you got any inside mail that we can share with our fans?
Not in regards to the middles, to be honest with you. I know there's a lot of talk around in like making sure that they give a pathway to these young guys coming through and not blocking them completely, and letting them feel like there is something, there is a reason to stay at the West Tigers. I think if you probably the example is Ryan Pappenhausen. I know if you could have kept Tedesco, you would have kept him, right? But sometimes if that path is blocked and you go and buy a big name prop, then some of these young guys think, okay, well, maybe I have to look elsewhere for an opportunity. With you got Stefano there, and obviously if you went and purchased another one, there'd be a couple of starting props there going forward. So I haven't heard who they're after. I know that they want to spend their money on outside backs. They got 600,000 left in the cap this year, which I imagine they're going to probably bank that and forward pay some players so they get that in the cap next year. Plus Mbai, they're paying about 400 of Mbai's salary, so there's $1 million there that they will have available, and hopefully next year then there's still room there to have a fair crack at a centre. There's a feeling they need a centre, some speed out wide, and potentially adding some class to the team with a big name if it became available. But at the moment, the Dolphins can't even do that, and they've got an $8 million checkbook still there. So yeah, it's
600K. 600K. That's like a decent quality player that we don't have under the cap. So if you add up 600K, add them all the salaries of the guys that are out at the moment, we've probably got we're probably $3-4 million under the cap if you take into
well, there's no
account
like
injuries.
if you look at Newcastle's team, I know they're not going well. I'd rather Newcastle's team on paper, and you guys are obviously performing a lot better than Newcastle in terms of effort. Newcastle, unfortunately, not coming up. So if you're comparing roster for roster, even the Dogs, to be fair, on paper, the Dogs there, I know people have bagged their recruitment, but there's still a lot of former rep players there as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. And as I said in the story, there are reasons for the way you are at the moment. 3 from 11 to start the year compared to last year. I think you were 5 from 13. So you're not going to be better than that at this stage with that bye. But I think you can say the performances are probably more consistent even if the results aren't going your way.
Michael, there's one. Sorry, Shayne.
I've got Shayne. You have a go, mate.
I've got a quick one.
I've kept quiet.
I've kept quiet.
Go, Shayne.
Just a quick one on recruitment next year. So we've got 2 big name players, possibly the best second rower coming in, and arguably one of the best dummy halves coming in to our team. Where do you put that with Madge? So obviously they've hit him up. They want to come play for Madge and the Tigers. I'd say that's a pretty big tick on his sheet for players, and especially the rumours we heard about Crichton asking to talk to Madge about possibly making a shift over to the Tigers. Like they're 3 pretty big ticks if you can land Crichton, which, look, who knows? Crichton's going to do what Crichton wants to do, but we've literally signed 2 of them, 2 very, very, very big players of the game.
I might add my question to that because it's pretty similar as well. So Jackson Hastings, also, he's off contract at the end of next year, and he said he wants to play for Madge for the rest of his career. So also sacking Madge might risk losing Jackson Hastings. So it's kind of adding to Shayne's point of all these players that want to play for Madge, including Jackson, our Lord and Savior.
Yeah. I'll say one with Jackson. I think, the club took a risk signing him, and it's paid off. I think Madge deserves the credit for that. That Jackson Hastings, reality was Jackson Hastings was not wanted anywhere else in the NRL, and the Tigers, they took a risk, and it's paid off. I think he's on 3s at the moment this year. He's not on a lot of money, and he's definitely worth more than that in the long term. I don't think Jackson Hastings, would he be disappointed? The players that have left, of course, like Tom Trebojevic and Jake, when Trent Barrett left, they were guarded, and Jackson Hastings, Josh Jackson at the Bulldogs, Dean Pay left, and Trent Barrett. Like, at the end of the day, the players are going to have to, he's got a contract, and they're going to have to look after themselves. Will they be disappointed? Of course. Jackson Hastings loves Madge, and you got to admire the way he's handled this year, because the club needs someone like him showing that they have his back, which hasn't been the case in the past. You couldn't see that the players had Madge's back, and Jackson's leadership has been pivotal this year. In regards to Papali'i and Coruscant, I think Coruscant, yes, that's a Madge and Sheen's signing. I think you guys probably Papali'i was just about done anyway before Adam Hardigan left. Correct. There, so that was with the relationship I think he had with his manager as well, which led to Stefano coming to the club. So there's some ticks there. There's definitely some ticks, and I think the club missed out on some, but also decided not to go all in for some players, which worked out well in the end. I think, would you have liked Dale Finucane? Of course, he's going well, and before he got injured, but would you have paid him 3 or 4 years? It's still a risk. Same, they didn't get Pangai Jr. 750. Did they want to get there? Yes, they did. He chose the Dogs in the end, but they could have thrown 800-900 at him and didn't. So I think the club's learned from its mistakes. And yes, there are players who didn't. There are concerns. I think Adokar you missed out on because of concerns around Madge. But at the end of the day, you start winning, people want to come, and you start looking at rosters and recruitment and saying that's a good club when players are willing to take unders just to come to you. And that's the case when you start winning. Penrith and all these clubs, they go there because they know they're going to become better players. You look at Melbourne, you go there for nothing, and you leave a $500,000 player. That's when you know your recruitment and retention is working. So hopefully the Tigers in the next few years go there, because the reality is Papali'i, Coruscant, they came to the club because the money was there. And Coruscant couldn't get the money at the Panthers. He was never going to get that money anymore because they've got so much money in Cleary and Luai and Fisher Harris and the like. And Papali'i, well, Parramatta butchered that. Parramatta tried to keep everyone. They tried to keep all their players. And whether or not they probably realised that was the wrong strategy, trying to keep Nia Corey offering him money, Reid Marnie, and then Papali'i and Reid Campbell Gillard. I think if they prioritised, they might have got Papali'i and offered him what he was worth, because I think you guys would all agree he's worth what he's going to get at the Tigers, which is in excess of 600.
Yeah, agreed.
Possibly more. Michael, a big question. So a lot of our commentators have kind of said the same thing. We're kind of, when you came in, touched on it, how us West Tigers fans feel a little bit picked on, so to speak, by the media. I mean, it's understandable that your job's all about selling papers somewhat, but page impressions is the aim of the game, sort of thing. Is it pretty well known amongst journalists? Like, is West Tigers in a headline just fish in a barrel? Are we easy? Are we the fish? Like, because we click, we're obviously passionate fans. We clicked your article.
I think every club feels the same, Josh. I think every club feels as though we're picking on them or we're targeting them, because I don't think you guys are reading stories on the Rabbitohs or reading stories on the Dogs. Like, reality is, this, as Rob said earlier, the fact that you haven't played finals football for 10 years, that story in itself just amplifies everything that is said about the club, because you know what, people want to see the Tigers succeed. The West Tigers, everyone's second favourite team, and the fact that they don't or haven't in the last decade is a talking point. And it's not about picking on or whatnot. Like, you know, I've had a lot of friends at the club, have friends at the club. It's for a while there, I was, you know, felt like the Tigers
I'm talking about just the media.
Number one team.
But to be honest, I mentioned him before, Buzz Rothfield, like, he definitely feels like he has an agenda. He hates, like, against
look,
I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about the media.
Journos. I'm not going to criticize them, because people will say the same thing about me. And then, you know what? That's their opinion. If they feel that by reading my stories that I've got an agenda, then that's fine. Like, that's, what can I do about it? I've got to try and do the job to the best of my ability. And if that upsets people, then I've got to wear it. And that's why I don't mind coming on and talking to you guys. You know, you guys are fans, you love your club, and I respect that. And you know, sometimes what I write pisses you off. That's the reality.
Yeah. Well, I think you just got another 1,000.
But you've got to do it.
I think you just got another 1,000 fans. So we really appreciate, like, all the comments coming through saying, like, how much they appreciate you coming on. I wouldn't say defend. It's not like you've had a stab at the club, but to come on.
I've had my fair share of criticism of the way things are on Imagine. And mate, for even in the years before that, I spent a lot of time writing a lot of stories about the club, and some positive, some negative. At the end of the day, it's people will forget what you've done. The most recent thing is what they'll remember. And at the moment, you know, I have been quite critical of Michael Maguire based on the thoughts of people inside the club that I've spoken to. And I said, it feels like that I'm bashing and repeating it, but the West Tigers, then again, it's the moment things change and we'll be writing stories that are positive and how good, like, the club, how good it will be to have the club succeeding again. And it'll feel like a distant memory, but hopefully that's sooner rather than later. Because, you know, the clubs, I got a lot of family who are Tigers fans who, you know, just want to see the club succeed. And I grew up in Western Sydney, still live in Western Sydney. And I know how big the club is and where it should be. And even like the Roosters, they've had 20 years of success, and still the Tigers have more fans and members and bigger crowds. If the Tigers got what the Roosters had the last 20 years of success, they'd be the biggest club in the country. So, hopefully one day it moves towards that. I think the club's financially off the field got itself sorted. The board gets a bad rap in terms of their involvement, but there's no one at the club who wants to see the club fail or set it up. Everyone's doing what they believe is the right thing. And I know, Rob, you questioned earlier whether their intentions are the right intentions, or if they're trying to undermine the coach by undermine the club by undermining the coach. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. It might not be the right thing, but they believe it is. So, when you're losing, that's when you get those factions in a club. And hopefully this year is the start of an improvement. And whether that's with or without Madge, I don't think I think the Tigers are about to take the next step. And I think if it's Madge or not, that's irrelevant. It's just up for the people. And Chim Sheens has got the knowledge there to know if he thinks that the club will improve under a different leadership. And as I touched on earlier, there are signs there that with such a slight change over the summer, that things have improved dramatically. And perhaps that's in the back of people's mind, that if we continue to change, not change for the sake of change. And the club was on the right track when Ivan was there. And I think if Ivan stayed, which is not the Tigers' fault, you probably play finals football the year after. He's got the players there he wants, and you're paying the price for Ivan walking out in the club. And that's the reality of Madge's situation. And I think some people feel like 4 years was enough time to correct that. We'll soon find out if he gets a fifth year and gets to see it through.
Well, we're in year 4 and we're still paying a bit of Mbai's contract. So Cleary's nice deals are still haunting us.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think the first 3 years were
with his premiership ring by his bedside at night.
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is.
Michael, we're just finally coming out of our cap mess. You know, that one thing Adam Hartigan did that was fantastic was he offloaded within 18 months, you know, your Packers, your Mbais, your Reynolds, your McQueens, all those guys really quickly. So I think this is the first kind of year. I know we're paying a bit of Mbai now, but we're kind of in our first sort of period where we're in a position to spend, and we've made those purchases, and next year we can make more purchases. So I think Madge is sort of been dealing with a crippled deck. And you look at how, like, we probably had $3 million, you know, in New South Wales Cup in 2020. So, you know, like, we're basically playing with 70% of our cap. So
yeah,
I'm not trying to be the you know, the total Madge defender. Like, everyone's got a part to play within the club, but I guess, you know, bagging the Gold Coast for playing shit when they've made a whole heap of signings doesn't sell papers. You know, Ricky Stewart's finally getting...
I work for the Sydney Morning Herald, so the focus is 8 or 9 teams for us.
Yeah, sure.
You know, that's why. Do we care about the Broncos? No, because we pay for subscribers.
There's other teams, you know, there's other coaches like Nathan Brown and Ricky Stewart, like I said, has got out of it the last few games. Canberra's finally turned it around, but they were in a mess, and nothing seemed to get mentioned about them. It was always us or Trent Barrett. So now that Trent Barrett's gone, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. We're gonna start getting picked on. But I hope your West Side family members still talk to you, mate.
Some of them do. Some depends on which side of the fence they sit on with Madge. But it's I spoke to the club like a bit earlier about, you know, with Jack Bird and what happened yesterday. That you got to respect the club for deciding, you know what, we're not paying this much for Jack Bird. Were they interested? Yeah, they'd have a conversation. Did they want to pay him in excess of $550 for 3 years? There are people at the club who wanted him, but there are others who thought, you know what, we're going to be back in the same position, taking this sort of risks with a player who has got a history of long-term injuries, and they didn't buy it. And there are people there, Justin, Tim, and Madge, and they're making calls for the future, for the best decisions for the long-term future of the club. So there's no short-sightedness here. There's depth coming through the system. They've got the pathways right. Brett Camorley, Matt Benzie. It's just getting it right in regards to the first grade team. And I think if the first grade team can fire, the rest of the club is starting to take care of itself.
Yeah, I can give you a bit of a scoop on Angus Crichton too, if you want, Michael.
Hit me.
The door's not closed with us, but he does want to stay with the Roosters. You probably know that already. But
I don't think Angus Crichton want to leave the Roosters, but I think the Roosters
he doesn't want to leave.
Willing to let him go if he finds a deal. Yeah,
exactly. So we're still in the ballpark, but it looks like he's going to stay at the Roosters.
But that's what's going to have to happen until you rebuild. You're going to have to settle for players who cannot stay at their clubs for salary cap reasons or whatever it may be. And then the tide will turn. You win, then people will come to the Tigers for less. It's just, and it's really hard getting out of a hole.
Yeah, and we need a few good kids coming through as well at the same time. A bit of a blend like 2005.
That's it. No,
if we have 600K for this year, are we allowed to start paying Angus now? Can we say, he's 400K? No, because I'm pretty sure the Roosters did that with James Maloney.
It's a good question. I don't think you can pay someone not on your books. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like, if you wanted to forward pay Luke Brooks, for example, there would be no issue. And then let's say that he's at 1.1 and you pay him 600 this year, the next year only have to pay him 500, which I'm not saying this is the case, but if you were trying to offload someone next year, if that was the case with Luke Brooks, it becomes a lot easier to offload him next year with someone willing to pay his salary. Or it just means you get 600K to spend elsewhere if you decide to keep him. So, it's a good question with Angus Crichton. I'm not sure if you can actually forward pay someone who's not on your books that year. I might have to look into that.
Nick Politis can probably do it, but no one else can.
Boys,
we'll let Michael. I know as a dad of kids, it's sleep is precious, and as a journo as well. So, any last questions for Michael before we let him go?
Yeah, just give us a follow on Twitter, Michael. And
he already has.
Will you come back on the show in the near future?
Yeah, no, happy to. As I said, it's all good. You guys love the club. Everyone's passionate about their club, and I would have been doing the same thing if I was still in the Dragon army cheering on the Dragon. So it's all good. No dramas. Happy to help.
Really appreciate it.
I think about 1,000 people. You're their favourite journo now after the night. That was awesome.
That's
Thank
all right. I
you so
still
much.
got 500,000 to turn. Thanks, boys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Michael. Have a good night.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Michael.
See you. Bye. How good was that? That was
he handled himself really well.
Yeah. It was. I think everyone, the 70-odd people watching that live, and the people that will listen to this, obviously tonight and tomorrow, we'll really enjoy that. That was some good insight and some good back and forth there, Rob. Thanks heaps to Michael for literally last minute. You tweeted him 8:15, and we went on air at 8:30. So
even asking Josh, he politely said, "If you want me to come on, let me know. I'll come on." So
how was that?
Good on. It's good for him, good for us. He gets a bit of publicity, so do we. All good.
We got asked like a question each too, Shayne. That was pretty good.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, I'll leave you alone. No, you were coming up with some really good points. So I didn't want to interrupt you because I was enjoying listening to what you were asking. So no, it was really good. I just had that one little thing.
You should be a journalist, Rob.
I didn't want to bag him, but if I wanted him to leave, I would have said, "Why did you leak that 2-part article just before we played Canterbury?" But I didn't want to go there. I just thought, let's just leave that alone.
At the end of the day, I know as a former journalist myself, and he's got a job to to get attention. He got our attention. He didn't want to answer it, but I think Westside, there are so many of us and such passionate fans. We click the articles. I honestly think West Tigers is just just gold when it comes to writing an article. So, that was awesome.
Activity, boys, and talk about this awesome win last Friday.
Absolutely.
Players again.
We'll try and go through it fairly quick. So I got the stats back up. I think we got through Junior Tupou. So that means we are up to
Peachy.
Closed the Peach. Shayne, thoughts on Peachy's game on the weekend, Friday night?
He wasn't great. Wasn't like to me. He was pretty average. He sort of seemed to be everywhere, which was all right. Defensively, he was really average. I noticed him dropping off quite a few tackles. Other than that, he was sort of just everywhere. He didn't really do heaps. It was a bit of a quiet game. Sort of, he looked like the headless chook of the last a few games ago. He's just running around like a headless chook trying to do shit, especially earlier in the year. So, yeah, that's all it was really for me. I just didn't really notice him too much.
Rob, any thoughts on Peach?
Yeah, no, just a quiet game. I don't think centre suits him, but I don't think it was for lack of effort. He did a couple of, Peachy-esque sort of things, flung a ball out the back when he looked like he was tackled and all that. But the only thing I noticed was him giving young Junior Tupou a bit of verbal when Canterbury had a 2-on-2. It might have been their first try. And then Tupou didn't trust make the tackle. He jammed in and left his winger. So, I'm not. I think he had a go. I just don't think centre suits him. Not really much to say about him.
With plenty of good words about this guy. You can see his face on the graphic I made earlier. Kenny Mamalo, Shayne. He another big game from Big Kenny.
Yeah, 153 run meters, 65 post contact. The bloke's an absolute weapon. He was one of the best on ground. You could see the strapping out on his knee. He really wasn't doing too well. And after he scored both tries, I'll be honest, I thought he was off. He scored the try straight away. It was my knee. And the second try, he did the same thing. And you know what? He held out and he kept playing. So I'll give him that. He did really well.
Still led the backs in meters and runs.
Just the balls on him. Just the balls on him. He just runs harder than anything. So, no, it was really good. Really good. He's just getting better and better. Every game's better and better and better. So,
Well, we mentioned earlier that we caught up with my family who were at the game. Rob and I, had dinner with them after the game. They were sitting in the corner that he scored both his tries, like literally a whole pack of Bulldogs fans. And funny enough, they had Flanagan Senior sitting literally in front of them, and so got their money's. If you were at that end of Leichhardt Oval, you got your money's worth the other night. But how good were those tries, Rob, by Kenny Mamalo? Like the finishes, he must have he must have the biggest hands, because how do you hold a greasy ball in your hand like that and contort your body? It's just like a lot of wingers can do it in the NRL now, but you still got to pull it off, and he did it twice.
Yeah, he did it twice, in the middle of the first half, 27th minute or thereabout, and in the 40th minute. Great one-handed finishes. As you said, he's like the Statue of Liberty for the West Tigers. He just sticks that arm out and grounds it. And like, they were really hard finishes. I think one of them he ended up in the fence, but his runs live, Josh, as we discussed while we were there, they were just huge. Like, he was coming off the back fence. One thing I will say that probably hasn't been pointed out, he did a really good challenge when he was deemed to have knocked the ball on, and he never knocked the ball on. And from that...
into Ockenball.
Yeah,
into Ockenball, yeah.
And then from that...
we won the challenge, yeah.
From the challenge, we got back-to-back penalties and scored the try. So it just shows you how important the captain's challenge is. And, he knew that he didn't touch the Canterbury player when he juggled the ball. So that was another key moment. But look, like I said, he's one of 4 blokes that I could have had as man of the match. So loving everything he does. I hope he plays this week. He's integral to our team now.
Absolutely. Another guy that played very well on the weekend, Jock Madden. So obviously he got his chance at the 6 jersey with Brooksy out. I think he might be my 3 points this week. I don't know about you boys, but just based on, you see his face there, the kicking, like he kind of, I don't know, Jackson probably had a bigger impact than him, but Jock, do you reckon it's Jock Madden's best game in a West Tigers jersey? Who wants to go
by far.
first? Shayne? Yeah, go.
By far. He was great. And his kicking was really good. Repeat
goal
sets.
Kicking.
His goal kicking was good. He missed one. Mate, like he was just, for a young half who's barely played any games to come in and do what he did, it's impressive. Very impressive. Whoever gets him for next year is going to be stoked. Because I personally think he's going to Dolphins, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, it'd be a good signing for him, because they'd probably there's no way we'd match an offer that they could. So it'll be
not with who we've got on our books. No way.
Yeah, unless the only way I can see him staying is if Brooks goes, but
then again, he's playing second fiddle again.
Yeah, unless
he'll come a lot cheaper though. He'll come a lot cheaper than Brooks.
Yeah, would you? How much do you think it'd take for him to re-sign? $500,000?
No, 400, 450.
Depends what someone else offers.
Halves are pretty sought after.
Mate, he's had 10 games. He's had 10 games. Even if
Dolphins might throw some money because they have money that they have to spend because they won't be able to field a team.
Yeah,
so they literally have to pay overs. Yeah, they've got to pay overs for everyone. Like, look at all the players they've signed. They've literally paid overs for them. Otherwise, they won't field a team. Like, they're halfway through the season and they've barely got players. Like, they can't literally field a full team. So they'll probably go, we'll give you $600,000-700,000 just to get him there. So they know that they've got a half.
Thoughts on Jock's game outside of the signing rumours? Rob, he was fantastic, obviously.
Yeah. Look, literally the only thing I can pick on is when he kicked a ball dead in goal in the first half, where a better kick or throwing it out in the hands would have worked. But he took control of that game. I think a lot of it was forced by Jacko Hastings being injured. I noticed a few times in the second half, Jackson Hastings would actually take a really strong hit up on the 5th tackle so that Jock had to do the kick, because obviously Jackson wasn't going to be doing much kicking with a bunged foot. But as I said earlier, just those couple of options where Canterbury put pressure on him and he took runs on his own, and then the chip over the top for the try. And to think he's only had less than a dozen games, he's a real good one, boys. And his kicking game was on point, as Shayne said. Goal kicking, apparently it's the first time he kicked a goal. Amazing, but he got his first try for the club. I think we had 3 guys that had their first tries for the club this week. So in Stafford Toa, Jock Madden, and Farmunu Brown. So yeah, it was just a good night all round. But I was really happy for him because watching it at the game and watching it on the replay, he was still the best player on the field. So I agree with you, Josh. He's going to get my 3 points this week.
Our Lord and Saviour Jackson Hastings had another. We talked about it earlier. His impact when he's on and off the field. He's just, man. It's just. I really hope he's a West Tiger for the rest of his career. Shayne, I don't know, but we're talking about the whole Madge thing earlier, and I just think if he says he wants Madge to be coach, you have to go with whatever. You have to go with whatever Jackson wants. Pay the man.
You need to keep him.
Yeah,
you need to keep him.
We can't lose him.
Look, he's my man of the match, just for what he did when he was off and on. Obviously, that stark difference in attacking edge, but he didn't get my 3 points. He's not my man of the match. He's the best player on the ground again.
Yeah,
as he always is. He's always best player on the ground.
It's on a scale. Yeah,
but he just every time we're scoring tries, he literally has the ball every single tackle. On that set, he has his hands on the ball, no matter what. And he's guiding people around, setting people up to be exactly where he wants them to be for that 5th tackle play. And that's the biggest thing I've noticed. As soon as he has the ball for every single tackle, that's it. We are either on their goal line trying to score, or we're putting a kick in to score. So that's the biggest difference. Whereas there's so many times where we just do one-up runs like we used to back in the day, whereas now we're spreading the ball a bit and we're making meters at will. There's times where we were making 30, 40 meters off a run, and then we'd slow it down, center the play, and then go for it again. So that's the sort of stuff that Hastings does and just steers the ship perfectly. He just sets it up, really. That's all. He's just setting everything up.
Anything to add on the great man, Rob?
Look, like Shayne said, probably the best way to explain it is we don't win the game without him. He's not even in my points this week, but we don't win the game without him. The bloke was in a moon boot at full time. Being there live with you, Josh, I mean, the bloke should also have laryngitis as well. I did not realise how much he talks. A lot of people are watching the ball during the game. I was watching him for a fair bit of it. And also the way he combined with Jock Madden, he was digging into the line. Jock was digging into the line. Jock nearly put Luke Garner over 3 times. And I thought, how are these guys combining so well where they haven't played together for so long? Because, Luke Brooks has been there for a while and, he didn't get a run last week. So, look, the guy impresses me, every single week. My only hyper criticism, and I'm being hypercritical just because I want to criticize our Lord and Savior for something. Okay, when we're in the red zone, I just feel some of those kicks, he'll do those mini chip kick bomb things that they're not really high enough for our guys to catch. And sometimes a grubber kick would be better.
Low.
Like I said, I'm just being super critical just for the sake of trying to point out the bloke's not perfect, because he is perfect. I love him. He's the best thing.
I love him. I want to book him. Get him up here. Righto. On to the forwards, and that would be Jimmy Tamou. There's word that Jimmy Tamou might be out this week. He picked up an injury. So has anyone heard that? I heard someone say that before. Was that you, Rob?
Yeah, I've heard that. I hope it's wrong, but knowing what Madge is like, he's going to name everyone anyway, and we'll find out Friday what the team gets reduced to, and 4:30 on Saturday what the team is.
Dislocated hand. Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah, finger.
That's right. His thumb. It's his thumb.
His thumb.
Yeah. Thoughts on his game though, Rob?
His defense was outstanding, guys. He's his energy in defence as well. Like he was charging out of the line, cross the line, especially that first 15, 20 minutes. It was really not noticeable of the game. Look, he's just showing the leadership and providing the leadership that we need. And we've lacked leaders. Now we've got a few of them, on the field, in especially him, Jackson, and in my opinion, Joffa. I think the three of those guys are leading with their feet as well as their talk. And when we get Adam back, we're going to have another leader there. So, look, really impressed with him. If he keeps putting in performances like that, I really hope he gets another year. He's really bought into, he wants his club to be successful. And you can just see it in everything he does. And, even hearing him after the game in the presser, you can hear there's a real desire in his voice. So, look, really happy with him. And, I hope we can have him playing this week. He'd be a big out if he's not there.
We've talked about it a few times, Shayne, but yeah, a couple of comments. Shane and Rachel asking, do we sign Jimmy for another year? He's obviously 35. He'll be 34 start of the season, turning 35 next year. I think if he takes 250, he's on 350k now, so he'll probably 250k for one more year. If he only plays half the season, I think that's still worth it for his leadership alone.
100%, especially after what we've seen this year. Last year was a bit lackluster, but definitely if he keeps up this form to the end of the year and he wants to go another round, that's the difference. It's whether he wants to go. If he wants to go another round, I'd say definitely 100%. Let's 250k. Let's get him in for another year because this is vintage Jimmy. Like, he's running hard. Defense is wild. He only missed one tackle. He made 32, so he's got 96% tackle efficiency. Like, he's playing absolutely great. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how he goes, though. It's whether he wants to play. That's the biggest thing.
Smiling, saying, like, I see him being part of our future success. It would be nice that as we go to next year with a roster that's probably, you would think, going to be pretty good. It'd be nice for him to be a part of that rather than just being a bridge between eras. Jimmy being part of the team. He played in a grand final.
As Shayne said, he's got to want it. He's got to want that one more year. It's got to come from him, not from us. If he wants it, he'll be an asset.
Jakey Little played in the 9. Obviously, Jakey Simpkin was out, but I think he's going to be back this week, possibly. Rob, thoughts on Lids from what you saw, or both on at the ground and on rewatching the game? Did you think Lids' delivery was a bit better this week?
I thought it was his best game, guys. I know he's missed 6 tackles. I think he made 36, which topped the tackle count. I can't see
37. Yeah.
Okay, 37.
Yeah.
I just thought he was really, really good. I thought his service was good. I thought he showed a lot more deception. He had a bit more variety from dummy half, where normally he's so obvious to read. He was actually a couple of steps in the right direction to engage Canterbury's forwards before passing the ball. Look, he looked a bit bad, getting beaten by Tavita Pengai, but who doesn't, when Tavita Pengai's coming back on a hard angle. But I thought it was one of his best games. He did a mad scoot just before halftime. I thought he was going to score. Like, he looked like greased lightning out of dummy half. I was really happy for him. Just look, it's terrible to say, but it was kind of a blessing that he came off when he did, because we got Farmunu Brown for the last 30 minutes. But yeah, I thought he played a really good game, guys. One of his better ones anyway.
Shayne?
Yeah, look, I agree. He definitely played really well. He's got some tough competition there now, though, doesn't he?
Sure does.
He's got Simpkin and Brown knocking on the door, and I was impressed with Brown. I was very impressed with Brown.
I told you.
He's got some competition, which, look, competition's always good. So competition makes you better, hopefully. Look, I still think we'll let go of him at the end of this year. He's asked for a release. I still reckon Jacob Little will be going at the end of the year. But look, let's get the best out of him while he's here. That's all that matters right now, doesn't it? Just get the best out of him while he's right here.
Yep. And obviously injuries happen. And you need someone to come in we've obviously lost Rua as well. So a Rua debut is obviously off the cards as well. So Jakey, did nicely filling in. Shayne, Musgrove, boys, thoughts? Rob, I'll let you go.
Mate, I don't know what his stats are, Josh, but I loved what he did. The way he's running the ball, the way he's tackling, everything is just huge effort. Like he's just really giving it his all every week. And don't forget, guys, this team came off a 5-day backup as well. So look, really happy with what he's doing. He got caught out at second marker for, when Jacko Hastings got sin binned off that break from Jeremy Marshall King when he gave it to Dufty. Like he was a little bit lazy there at second marker, but generally everything he does now is full of effort. He's cut those mistakes out of his game finally. He's looking the real deal, boys. I just hope he can keep it up. I'm really impressed by him in the last few weeks.
Shayne, have you got his stats there?
Yeah, you know what's wild? He played an 19-minute stint, the first one. He only played 15 minutes in his second stint, and he's still putting up good numbers. He was running 99 meters, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, 99 run meters, 54 post contact. So he's still making big gains, 27 tackles, only 2 missed.
He's running hard and straight, Shayne. Like it's just
100%.
really good to see.
The thing is, we haven't seen the best of him. Every time we've gotten him back, he's been just come off fresh injury. This is the first time we've had him not injured, playing good footy. And this is why Madge wanted him.
And that's why Madge and us as well totally forgot about Thomas McHaley. He's just
100%. Like, really, he was. But another thing that isn't really spoken about that much is Zane chose us over the Dragons, and Dragons were offering him a lot more money.
Yep.
So he could see something here. He wanted to play for Madge. That's another tick on Madge's book for me. So, look, Musgrove's coming into his own. He's not injured. He's not coming back from an injury. He's fit. I want to see this every week. We have one of the best forward packs in the comp at the moment. They are matching anyone we go up against. I'm stoked. I'm really stoked.
Next in line, Luke Garner, second row, boys. Did you know Luke Garner could play second row?
I thought he was a centre.
It's weird.
I thought he was a centre, Josh.
Wearing the number 11. Obviously, LG, another try, and another. Yeah. Rob, do you think, even though he was pretty good at centre, do you think he looked more at home in the back row?
Definitely. He's in my points this week, guys. I said on last Monday's pod, I wanted him at second row. I feel like the version of Garner we've seen at centre, who's bought in hard on the defensive side of things. I know he runs great lines and great holes. So look, he was sensational. And you know what? I got to see on the replay that I didn't get to see as much in the game. All those backline moves we do where Luke Garner doesn't even get the ball are on Luke Garner. Luke Garner runs those straight decoy lines that just freezes the defence, and it just makes it so much easier for our backs to get outside the opposition. He is going to be a really good pickup for Penrith. I'm really disappointed to see him go, guys. He played his ass off the other night, and I'm glad to see him back in the second row where he belongs.
Shayne?
Yeah, look, when I first heard that he signed for Penrith, I was a bit whatever, like meh sort of thing. But look, he's definitely going to be a big asset for them, and he is a loss for us. This has been his best game that I've ever seen him play second row. Last year, the year before that, to be honest, he was pretty average. Very good attacking, defensively shit. I think that stint in centres has really shored up his defence, and it's really helped him out because he's ran 131 metres, 60 post contact, but then his tackles, he's 29 tackles, 3 missed. Like you go, I know I'm jumping forward. I'm going to Luch here. Luch only had 16 tackles, 2 missed, 1 ineffective, So he's putting in another 13 tackles, which is pretty damn good. And he's still doing what he's doing offensively. So
yeah,
fingers crossed he keeps it up.
He
Sad
will.
to see him go, and not just he's a great player. He's a player that's never in trouble off the field as well. Seems like a pretty good dude. You mentioned his name just then, Shayne, Luciano Leilua. So do you want to go on straight into the Luciano Leilua's game?
Look, to be honest, pretty quiet. I don't really remember much of him. This has sort of been a bit of a on-running theme for the last 5-6 weeks. Just very bland performances. Like usually we get that big tackle break or something like that. Like I don't think we're seeing that anymore because everyone else has stepped up so hard that he was so great in an underperforming team because he looked like he was performing. Whereas now everyone's performing, he doesn't look that great anymore. So I don't know. Like it's weird how quiet he has been this year, especially. Look, as I said, he only made 16 tackles in the whole game, 2 missed, and he ran. I think what did he run? All run meters. He ran 93 meters. He had 12 runs, whereas Luke Garner had 17 runs. So obviously they're opposite sides of the field, but still, like you want to see Luch get involved more because we know what he can do. But I really just think he's now getting outshone by quite a few of the other players. That's just my opinion.
Shayne on YouTube suggests, Rob, is he playing hurt? Is there a niggling injury with Luch? Or do you think, I mean, we can't say for sure, but do you think it's an attitude thing or maybe it's something physical?
I'd like to say something physical. I don't think he played badly the other night. I just think it was a quiet game by him. Shayne's asked this before from Luch about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Pass the bloody ball, promote the ball a bit. I noticed Luch doing that the other night. He was actually promoting the ball a little bit, looking to his centres. He's just playing he's taking a little bit more of a back seat, I think, to get other players involved a bit more. But look, as Shayne said, when you compare his stats to Luke, they're not the same. But I don't think there's an issue with the effort. He could be carrying an injury. I know he looked really hurt against St George a few weeks ago, and he kind of came out of it. And he probably hasn't been the same since. But for me, like he was our best forward the first 7-8 weeks of the comp. So I think he's entitled to have a couple of quiet games. But by no means did he let us down, Josh.
Just Jesse saying he'd be lucky to get a start. The Cowboys, after speaking to Michael Chammas earlier, saying we've got 600k left for this year, it's making me wonder: could we not have just given pay rises to guys that we don't want to leave? Like, are we really going to have much chance of signing a decent player for 600k? Like, is something really going to come along? It's just a shame. That 600k, you couldn't just say, hey, Luch, here's 200k for this year and then pay the rest of what we thought he was worth, or Luke Garner for that matter as well. But look, we're not in charge of the cap, so who knows what they have in store for that 600k. Maybe by the time people listen to this, maybe the club will have something good to spend that money on. And I'll eat my words. But next in line is Joe Ofahengaue. What's Shayne? This guy, you can see. I've got how many pictures have I got of him here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of the 10 stats.
7,
him.
I think.
7?
Oh no, it is 6. No, it is 6. My eyes are cooked. I thought
they're
Little was him for some reason. I was like, and then I saw 2 Littles next to each other. I'm like, oh no, that's definitely Little.
Yeah, they do look similar. Yeah, 19 runs, 160 meters, 74 post contacts, a try assist, quickest play the ball speed at 3.3 seconds, a couple offloads. I said Jock before for man of the match, but it's almost because we expect this of Joffa now. He's probably going to be has to be my number 2. You can't deny him after that effort.
Joffa's my man of the match. I was so impressed. Like, we were sitting here watching the game, and man, just his passing. He's getting so good. So good. He's doing those little bits and pieces, like Tamalolo will do. You know, those passes that just those carry on the play through the center of the park. You've got, I'll be honest, he just reminded me of Jake Tebojevic. That type of lock, he really did. His passes are getting that good. He runs it hard, tackles hard. Just, he's really coming into his own. And I'll be honest, I thought he is a prop forward. I'll be honest, he's definitely changing my mind. Like, I really think that we can just leave him at lock because he is playing so incredibly there. He's shoring up the defense through the center, made 29 tackles, only 2 missed. He had 160 run meters, 19 runs, 17 hit-ups, 2 tackle breaks. Like, the bloke is an absolute machine. Like, he even ran out of dummy half one of the plays, 27 receipts, so he's getting his hands on the ball quite a bit. But as you can see, 27 receipts to 19 runs. He's getting those passes in as well. He's done 8 passes out of through the play. And that's what we weren't getting from him. He wasn't passing. He wasn't linking up that play like what your playmaking lock would be. You know what I mean? Like your Cam Murrays, those sort of guys are really well at playmaking through the center. And he's starting to get that. It's starting to click for him. And yeah, he was my man of the match. His runs, his defense was just, it seemed like he was in every fucking tackle. But it was his passing that blew me away. There's quite a few where he set up little tries, like little plays that just broke through. And no, I'm stoked with how he's playing. He's just he's literally becoming a great lock.
Rob, Nick on the YouTube comments said apparently that Joffa has activated his player option for 2023, which
great news.
And that also another proof that players want to play for Madge as well. He's doesn't want to test himself in the market. He thinks, he wants to take up the offer at the Tigers. So that's pretty good. Any thoughts on Joffa?
Yeah, look, as I said earlier, you could have 4 guys, in my opinion, that could have been man of the match, and he's one of them. Probably his best game for the club. The biggest point is what Shayne said. I haven't seen him ball play like that ever. Like, he literally went from playing like a prop to a proper lock. The short ball he did for Luke Garner was sublime. It was a beautiful short ball. His leadership now, he truly is one of the leaders of our club. I remember being at the ground, Josh, and when Musgrove, got that HIA, he wasn't even warm or anything. He just bounced off the bench. Came on in about.
Yeah, I do.
He just came on cold and just started ripping in straight away. His hit-ups were good. His defense was good. He's a really important part of our team, and he's showing it, guys. And like we've discussed many times, he called out everyone in the club after our round 5 loss to Cronulla, and he's showing how much he loves the club, and he's playing with a passion that I haven't seen him play like that before. So good on him. And, I'm cool for anyone giving him 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. He's not even in my points this week, but I could have given him 3 easily.
Kelma Tuolagi only played 16 minutes off the bench. I believe that was the last 16 minutes. I'm assuming that's the last 16 minutes of the game. We at the ground.
No, he came on with 3 minutes left in the first half, Josh, when Junior Tupu had to go off for HIA. We had a little bit of a shuffle because Naden moved to right wing, and then Luke Garner went to left centre for 3 minutes, and then Tupu was okay at halftime, and everything went back to normal.
He was on for 2 minutes. I was going to say he came on 14 minutes ago, so he's got 2 minutes. He was on for 2 minutes for a HIA.
Yeah,
and then 14 minutes.
Correct.
At the end, yeah. So thoughts on Kelma's usage here, Shayne? Been pretty critical. I saw a couple of people talking about who was it? Said in the comments, he's confirmed for Manly? It's Manly just got to move contracts around to register it. But it's a done deal.
It's definitely a done deal. I've spoken to people inside the club before we actually really heard about it. I asked a couple of people, and everyone that came, that was actually round 1 when we went to the Storm game, Josh. Yeah, I was snooping around talking to a few people, and I got confirmation there that 100% it's done. They just need to move some contracts around, free up some money so they can get it all registered before the announcement happens. But look, he played all right. He gave it a red hot crack. Four runs, 44 metres, 26 post contact. But I really do think that he's completely lost his spot to Luke Garner. And there's not a second thought for it.
Impact off the bench kind of suits him anyway. What are your any quick thoughts, Rob, on Kelma?
I think Rob's frozen. I haven't seen him blink for a little while.
Oh, there he goes. Okay, we'll move on to...
He was frozen for a bit.
His 100th game, Alex Twal. So, Twally, he again... his tackle rate, 100.08%, 36. Somehow 36 and 0 is 100.08% for Twally.
Because he just makes everyone else tackle better around him, so they have to give him a bit. Mr. 100.08%.
Thoughts on Twally's game, Shayne? Do we try and get Rob back in?
Mate, his attack has gotten so much better that I'm just absolutely I'm shocked because I didn't think we could get this from Twal. I'm actually shocked because I didn't think defensive monster, 100%, 36 tackles, none missed, 100.08% tackle efficiency. So he's making everyone else better around him. And he only played for 50 minutes. He's doing 36 tackles. The only other person that had more was Jacob Little. And his attack, I reckon we're definitely going to see him get a try this year because his attack
is seeing, man.
You're right there, Rob.
You're right there, Rob.
We can hear you're on the air. We can hear you. Nope.
No, I think it freaked out again. But I can see us actually celebrating his first try because I haven't seen him attack like this ever. And it's just a welcome sight to see because I really didn't think we'll be getting it out of him. When him and Eisenhuth used to come on for us, it was just it was like the two slowest props in the whole NRL came on. And it was so hard to watch. But I think that having all the other boys put in how they're putting in, I really think it's G'd him up, and I think attack-wise, it's only going to get better for Twal, and I reckon he's going to go through.
You there, Rob? There you go. Oh, now he looks like a 2K character that hasn't been unlocked yet.
Unlocked, yeah. You've got to unlock character. Unlock Rob Bashara.
Twally. What a shame he couldn't get over the line. The kick that ended up being taken off Stafford Tower anyway, but I was hoping the ball, and there was another moment in the first half too. He chased down a kick that ended up the Bulldogs let it bounce, and it bounced around. Unlucky.
You there, guys?
Gotcha,
there
Rob.
He is. There he is. Talking about Alex.
I don't know where I'm up to, boys, but I'll be.
Alex Twal.
Alex Twal, we've gone off Kelma.
Yeah, Kelma's old news.
Kelma's old news. All right. Well, by the way, I thought Kelma played well in the middle when he came on. He did a good job playing in the middle and did a couple of good offloads. Twally, look, a couple of near misses for tries, boys. Obviously, the one we spoke about with the no try for Stafford Tower. And then in the first half, I don't know if you remember that bomb that kind of bounced bit funny, and it was either going to be
Yeah.
Duff or Alex Twal that caught the ball. But he played really well. Unfortunately, he copped a HIA with a few minutes left. Had to come off the field. We actually had like 4 HIAs, I think, from memory. So we had a bit of a rough night. It felt like Balmain tactics from 1969. We seemed to get the HIAs during our 10 minutes.
Oh no! I think it's your internet connection.
Sin bit, and it just kind of slowed the game down a little bit. But look, really happy you got me.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
the reception's getting a bit how you going here. But anyway, all good with Twally, mate. We got the win for him, and very happy. It was a good night for him.
Righto, New Brown on debut for the club. Rob, can we hear you? Because you had big raps on New.
Yeah, can you hear me now, guys?
Yeah, got you. We're talking about New Brown.
Yeah, look. Yeah, New Brown. As I said, he only came on because of Jacob Little's HIA in about the 50th minute. He played a really smart game. He did not look like running from dummy half the whole game until he got to the try line, and then he got down so low when he took off. Like it's really hard to stop leg drive. I thought he was brilliant, guys. But even just when he was getting ready to come on the field, the guy looks like a class act. He just looks like a footballer, and he's going to play. I think his second try wasn't a try, but we'll take one for a change. But he even did a nice little jinking run from about the 20-metre line, later in the game as well. The guy's got it all. If he can bust out 80 minutes, he could be a starting hooker, boys. He's a real find. So hopefully he gets one of those last 2 spots remaining at the club.
I think has to be.
Yeah.
Shayne, thoughts on New?
Oh, he was excellent. I actually read about his story. I was the other day, but I read a couple of articles today, and surprisingly, he was actually going to sign with us before he found out about his 3rd foot surgery. He found out the day that he was talking to Madge, and he couldn't lie to him and just said, mate, look, this is the go. I'd love to play for you, but I can't. I've got to get my foot fixed, blah, blah. Probably won't be able to play NRL ever again. And what a story. Rehabs his foot, goes over to Super League seconds, kills it over there, comes back and gets offered a training trial with the club that he was going to play with. So I'm stoked that we got him back in. They obviously saw how good he was back then. I really do believe it's a very, very good buy. Very good buy. It's train and trial at the moment, but he deserves a spot.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Like I was that impressed with him. The way he just barged over and the power he created from absolutely nothing. Like he hit that line with no run up out of dummy half and just barged people over. I was like, holy shit, because he doesn't look that big. He doesn't look that big. To be able to create that much power was just incredible. So I really believe we've got 2 spots to fill. One of them's his for sure, 100%.
There's some really cool scenes after the game, guys, with his loved ones as well. You could see him tearing up and just really proud of his performance. And obviously, it's been a long time in waiting. And, I said last Thursday, when we were talking about the preview, like if we get the Cronulla version of this guy, he's got feet like Benji, and he's a real good one, boys. He's going to be, if he's not snapped up by us, he's going to be snapped up by someone else. He's too good not to be playing first grade.
Stefano, 34 minutes from him off the bench still. For his standard, pretty quiet, Rob, still?
Yeah, look, really, really quiet game, guys. I'm getting a little bit worried now. It's his 3rd game back and still haven't seen the Stefano of old. Probably moved up a little bit too quick on the Jeremy Marshall King try from dummy half when they were going nowhere in that set against 12 men. He just doesn't look the same bloke, guys. I don't want to bag him. I just think he had a quiet game, but yeah, not the Stefano, not the best forward in the pack that he was, at the start of the year.
Shayne, any thoughts on Steph?
Oh, literally, I ditto what Rob said. I'm starting to get worried. We're 3 games in now from him coming back from an injury, and we haven't seen any improvement. We haven't seen that glimpse of what he showed us at the beginning of the year. The other boys are just stepping up. Like, you got boys like Joffa, Twal, Musgrove, and Tamou. Like, those 4 have literally been incredible. Incredible. But Stefano just, you'd expect him to have that impact off the bench because of how powerful he is and how hard he runs. You really, really do expect him to have that punch, and he just been very flat. I don't know if he's worried about what the injury and if he came back a little bit early, but something needs to change. As a few people are saying, they believe he's probably best starting. Look, I'll agree, but how can you take Musgrove off from starting? You can't. He has been incredible. You cannot put Musgrove on the bench because Musgrove and Tamou have been absolutely incredible. So,
did Stefano miss any tackles, guys? I can't see the stats.
Yeah, he missed 2 tackles and he had 2 ineffective for an 83.4 tackle efficiency.
Okay, just his lateral movement doesn't look the same to me, guys. Like, I wouldn't be starting with him at all. He's going to have to be used as an impact player until he gets his D right. He just doesn't look the same.
We've got the bye coming up. Maybe it's worth resting him, giving Seafath a bench spot.
Yeah.
Righto, last in the jersey player list, number 21 on club debut, playing against a club he played for last week. Brent Naden, boys, thoughts on our new recruit? It didn't take long for me to think it's a hell of a buy, and all those Bulldogs supporters that were trolling us on Twitter last week haven't got back to us this week. Talking about telling us how good riddance and that they don't believe that the Bulldogs paying half his salary. But thoughts on Naden's debut, Rob?
Yeah, I thought it was a good debut. Got off to a shaky start when he got dragged over the sideline with his first run. Look, he tried hard. He defended quite well, I thought. He tried to get involved as much as he could. I know it didn't help us out in the end, but the highlight for me was his tackle on Dufty. There's just something about fast guys at Leichhardt Oval, whether it's Larry Corowa or Josh or someone tearing along the turf there. But that was just a mad tackle. Like, he just wound him up and he really wrapped him up quite well and bought a bit of time. So just to have a guy of his size with speed there, when Madge gets his hands on him and gets to know a bit more about him and gets him knowing our systems and all that, he's going to be a really good asset. I think he needed that fresh change. He wasn't getting the service that he needs at Canterbury. At Canterbury, he was trying to do too much with the ball from the games that I saw. He wasn't really feeding his wingers or anything like that. I think we'll get the best out of him, boys, and we badly need centres, so it's just a win-win for us.
That tackle, you're talking about old players at Leichhardt Oval, it was Gary Jack reminded me of that tackle.
Oh, yeah. But it was just a speed that he just got him. I think most other players might have got him just before the try line, if they got him at all. He wound him up, 25 metres out from the try line. So it was just brilliant. Loved it.
And how bloody fast he caught him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dufty is quick, man. Dufty is quick, and it's like he had a lasso on him, and he was pulling his way into him. I was just like, holy shit, he's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know of it, but at full time, when everyone was shaking hands, Naden and Dufty, they had their hands around each other's collars. They had each other.
And I got a mate who's really, really he's in with all the St. George guys. And he literally said to me that there's probably 2 people in that whole team that like him.
Yeah.
The rest of them think he's a fuckwit. I've heard exactly the same thing about Bulldogs. And I've heard that not many people actually really like him. He's He just rubs people up the wrong way. He's got a really bad attitude. And I've heard that that's two clubs with like one of my mates who I do a lot of work for actually as well. His family have really deep ties within the Bulldogs, and they're really, really high up members. And I heard it from him firsthand that supposedly his attitude is shit, and he probably won't be there after his contract expires. He'll get shit canned.
Dude, Shayne.
Say it again, Rob.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing that Shayne's heard, that he won't be at Canterbury next year. Not that affects us. By the way, guys, did you guys hear about Tim Sheen's trying to poach Arthur Laundy for some sponsorship?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that to Chammas, but I was like, oh, I won't bring up that because
I forgot.
I was about to bring it up right at the end, but I didn't want to hold him for too long.
Yeah. Okay.
How would we're obviously owned by West Ashfield and Laundy Hotels are kind of a competitor. I haven't asked. I could ask this myself, I guess. Them being a sponsor of us, Laundy Hotels and West Ashfield would probably be competitors, but I mean,
they find a way to work it out.
Yeah, I mean, Laundy Hotels are everywhere. So I guess West Ashfield's competitors are everywhere, but I mean, money will always take more money. So
exactly,
well, that's it. Do you get him a seat on the board?
Well, it's hard to get on that board. It's hard to get on that board, mate.
It's hard to get off it too, supposedly.
True.
So,
right, as we finish up, we've gone well over 2 hours, but we had a great chat with Michael Chammas earlier for a good, gave us like a good half hour.
Yeah, half an hour, 35 minutes easy.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, Brocker on YouTube, Robbie said you'd comment on Twitter. You're going to meet some of the Tigers. Can you divulge anything about that before we end the show?
I can say that I confirm that I'm ringing him after emailing each other this afternoon, and I've got to ring him between 9 and 10 tomorrow to set up the time that we're going to meet. And I'd rather not name who it is, but it's someone pretty high up in the West Tigers club. So, but I mean, I think Mike has a lot of questions tonight anyway, but it still doesn't. I just doesn't satisfy me, to be honest.
Well, it's a good way to plug Thursday's show. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Our comments, they are live. Traffic. We've been in the 50s, 60s, 70s pretty much the whole night tonight. So for those listening on the audio, 321. Rachel, thank you. Reminded me. We haven't done 321 yet.
What's it else? I want to hear theirs because they're all going to be different this week.
Yeah. Drop your 321s, guys. Shayne, who's your 321? As I open up my Google sheet to fill it in. Who are your 321s?
Okay, 3 to Joffa. As I said before, he's fast becoming one of my favourite players. And I believe he deserves an Origin call-up. I really do. He's played Origin before. I think he's playing better than he did when he was at the Broncos when he got that call-up. I really think this season he's stood up, and I hope he does get that chance to go play for the Maroons because it can only do him better, confidence-wise. My 2's going to Hastings. When he's off the field, we're shit. It's just that simple.
I love the way you sugarcoat it.
Just like we just don't have any attack. He is our attack. He is our sword. And he's the one beheading people. The rest of the team just follows along. We don't attack without him, and the games he had off prove it. It really does. Like we just can't score points when he's not on the field. When he's on the field, we're scoring points. We're getting close to the end zone, and we're getting in there. You know, we're getting over the line. So, my number one, my 1 point goes to Kenny Mamalo because his finishing is just incredible. The flick on Naden to Kenny to put it over in the corner, that was just beautiful. We haven't had that sort of little Like it's always someone's overrunning the little flick on, or someone's overrunning a pass, or there's always a mistake. And having a center play center with such a good winger is just bringing the best out of Kenny now. Like I believe that was his best game, and he's walking around on one leg. Having Brent there, I really think him and Naden are gonna, as long as they can keep fit and having a proper center inside of him, mate, they're going to be a very damaging duo. And the better they get to know each other, it's going to be game over on that left edge for a lot of teams.
Rob, who are your three?
Okay, so my 3 points is Jock Madden. For a kid who's only played about 10 starting games, he just really took ownership of the game when it needed to be taken. When his, cohort, Jacko Hastings, was injured, he put some good kicks in there. He took control. He made all the right moves. And we wouldn't have won without Jacko. We also wouldn't have done one without Jock. The way they combined for not having played together for ages, I don't even think they have played together as a halves combination. It was an incredible game from him. My 2 points to Kenny, the fact that he's playing injured and busting out those meters, the post-contact meters, the special finishes he's doing, it's hard to give points to a winger in that sort of performance, but I could not deny it. Like 2 of those tries, I don't think many other wingers could have scored those tries. And 1 point to Luke Garner, that he's back home where he needs to be in the back row. Ran really hard, almost scored 3 tries. Jock put a couple of balls on him that nearly got him over the line a couple of times. He got a great ball from Joffa. Could have easily had a hat trick. Ran some great decoy lines that, as I said, held the Canterbury attack up. And honourable mentions to Joffa. Joffa could have easily been 3 points for me. Jacko, Stafford Toa. We had so many good performers, guys. It was just a real team effort. Not a bunch of superstars, but just guys, getting it done and giving us, a lot of faith as fans. And, if you ain't believing, you ought to be leaving, because these boys are coming good. We just need to win this week we just need to beat South on Saturday, boys, and we're going to get the bye, and then we're going to come back and we're going to kick some fucking ass, I'm telling you.
I'm going to go Jock for 3, Joff for 2. Man, it's 1. There's so many people we can. It's good. Yeah, it's going to be. I think Kenny. I think those 2 tries, like someone said in the comments earlier, I don't think many other people could have scored. And you said that too. I think just then, Rob. I'm going to go Jock. Yeah, Jock, Ken for me. So, Jock Madden, best game for us. Yeah, beautiful. People, thanks for Brocker. Yeah, mentioning join the Patreon. The Patreon link to join, patreon.com/WestsLife, I believe. I think that's the link. Patreon. Let me just check that for you.
You can put it up later when we
go to westlife.com. If you go to WestsLife, the best way, westlife.com, and there's a link shown on there. Link to MG Pump Solutions as well. As I went to say earlier before I totally forgot about the 3-2-1. Thanks to everyone tuning in tonight. Yeah, like literally half a century of you, the whole 2.25 hours with us tonight. So for those listening on the audio, Thursday 8:30, we'll be back to preview the Rabbitohs game. Boys, a great episode tonight. Having Michael Chammas on, thanks to him. Bringing some fire to the show. It's definitely cool to have a journalist giving those inside word. Who needs NRL 360, boys? I think we're better than those guys already. What do you reckon?
100%.
Well, everyone,
we say it how it is, boys. We say it how it is.
Exactly.
Right, drop it in the comments, guys. You know how we finish every show. Boys, we'll catch up again on Thursday. And as always, I'll let the comments come through. Drop them in. Anyone?
3,
Come on.
2, 1.
1.
Go the Tigers.